And that's why we're seeing, in my opinion, these currencies collapse versus real money. Real money is coming back. Yes, the Paul Volcker era is finished. And why do I say the Paul Volcker era? Well, because Monday, January 19th, 2026, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. I've always tried to work out what's going on in the world, why things are happening. And this morning, I was looking at the markets. I was looking at gold and silver. They're making new all-time highs, and I think they're going to continue higher. Not because they're becoming more valuable, not because someone found that gold and silver have some special qualities we didn't know about. I think the reason this is happening is because the post-1980 Paul Volcker Fiat regime is on its last legs, and I'll try to explain to you what that means. And a lot of you, or most of you, know I have a playlist called the Hyperinflation Files. In hyperinflation, you can call that a currency collapse, which is basically loss of faith and confidence in the currency. And I've said many times, from reading history, from reading about the hyperinflation in France in the 1790s, the one in Germany in the 1920s, that there were many symptoms that would tell us when this would be happening. And these symptoms are not just about economics. They're about geopolitics. They're about domestic politics. They're about economics as well, of course. They're about debt as well. And they're about what's going on in society. And it's reflected, of course, in, as a whole, this is reflected in the collapse of the currency. And I was thinking this morning, the big news, of course, over the weekend is that we're probably witnessing not just the collapse of the Paul Volcker Fiat regime, but also the collapse of the post-World War II Western Alliance. And that includes, of course, not just Western Europe and the US, but it includes Japan, it includes Australasia, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea. I guess you could add it on to that, even though those countries are in the Far East. These are just symptoms. The underlying problem is the debt, and a debt load that is becoming very difficult to deal with. And the biggest problem with the debt, the reason why it's becoming so difficult to deal with, is the cost of living crisis or affordability. The currency is starting to lose value very quickly. And that's what we're going to look at today. What I'm trying to say is that I wouldn't buy into all the talk that gold and silver are going up because of what's happening between the US, UK, and the EU vis-a-vis Greenland, for example, or what's happening between the US and BRICS. No, these are just symptoms, and nothing will change what's going on. And the reason why I say that is because it's a debt problem. And the more things break up, all these symptoms occur, the less confidence sovereign nations, big international institutions, big domestic companies, individuals will lose confidence in the currency. And that's why we're seeing, in my opinion, These currencies collapse versus real money. Real money is coming back. Yes, the Paul Volcker era is finished. And why do I say the Paul Volcker era? Well, because if you look at the Bretton Woods system and the Bretton Woods era from 1944 to let's say 73, really, they try to keep it going after 71. By 73, it really collapsed with the breakup of the fixed exchange rate regime. From 73 to 1980, the dollar almost collapsed. And it was only because of what Paul Volcker allowed to happen in 1980, i.e. Allow rates to go to 20%, which was unprecedented, and save the fiat dollar and give the system confidence. It was only because of that we had 40 years of this financialization. But I think the problem with the system is that it promoted the growth of debt, the growth of asset values, paper values, right? And unfortunately, for the powers that be, and for those who benefited from this debt-based system, from this financializations, all good things come to an end, and I think that's where we are. And that's why I would also tell those who are not professional speculators or hedge fund traders, or even they, I would warn, trading the collapse of the Paul Volcker era is a very dangerous endeavor, I would say, especially if you use leverage. And that's why I think you need to hold on to your physical gold and silver for dear life. The other thing I would say to all those retail people out there, it's going to get harder and harder to get the physical. So if you can still get physical gold and silver to protect your savings, because fiat savings are going to be wiped out. Yes, the stock market is still doing relatively well. It looks like it's going up, but it's kind of crashing. If you look at the Dow gold ratio, even the S&P to silver ratio, those are all crashing. And also government bonds, there might be a last hurrah by governments and central banks to print like crazy and buy these bonds, but all that's going to do is it's going to sink the currency even more. So why the Paul Volcker era? Yeah, because he saved the day, right? Paul Volcker. And Paul Volcker always considered gold as the enemy of the central banks, the enemy of this system that he thought intellectuals and PhD economists could keep going, that could replace the free market, sound money, really a regime of gold and silver, because that's what they are. They're not like systems. It's something that's been done by custom throughout the millennia by human beings. And is it a coincidence that Paul Volcker was trained at the London School of Economics, a hotbed of, let's say, Fabianism? The Fabians founded that institution. And Fabians, of course, are socialists. They think they're better than the market and that they can run things. So this is going to be very disruptive, what's going on right now. And the vast majority of people are going to think this is the end of the world, kind of as we know, of course. But if anything, it's a very good thing that's happening. Maybe not short term, of course. It's going to be painful for everyone, even those of us, of course, who I think have protected ourselves a bit. But even then, nothing's guaranteed. You've got to keep your eye on the ball. But yeah, medium to longer term, this is the best thing that could happen. We're going to go from a parasitical, debt-based system that enslaves really the public with debt, enslaves the public with big government. That's the other thing as well. Alan Greenspan, who was part of this Paul Volcker regime, right? He noted in an essay he wrote in 1966 that gold is like the enemy of the statists. And you can add silver to that as well. So my hope is that, yeah, the power of the statists is going to wane. Yes, it feels right now that they have a lot of power, and it does. Even President Trump in the US, he's yielding a lot of power right now. Some would even argue that he's trampling on the Constitution, but I think this is something that is a symptom again of what's happening. And isn't it interesting as well that it coincides with the fourth turning, which is an era of the winter of the fourth turning is an era of chaos, turbulence. Yeah, so that's what I think is happening. I was trying to figure out, no, it's not what's happening in Greenland that's causing gold to go up. That's just a symptom of the breakdown of the Fiat regime. What will that mean for investments and assets in general? Well, I think it means that hard assets are going to make a huge comeback. Real things are going to make a huge comeback. In a world where debt and financialization is waning or is not as important as it used to be, real things, doing real things will have a lot more importance. And that's why the value of commodities, hard assets, and also having the physical things is going to become a lot more important relative to the paper system. And the paper system is one that the premise of it working well was that there was cooperation amongst the nations and institutions of the world, which was kind of what we call globalization. That's breaking apart, I would say. And yeah, that's what I think is happening. The 40 years of financialization and growth of debt that we had was the takeover of the tail. The tail took over the dog and was wagging the dog. Debt and credit is not a bad thing, but when it becomes everything, then we get to where we're now. So all it will mean is that the dog will be wagging the tail in the future. And I would say that the dog will be hard assets and real things, all those things that are important, right? And the tail will be a much more emasculated financial sector. One of the reasons why I came to that conclusion this morning is that I had a look at the Japanese government bond market, and that's collapsing very quickly here. For example, the 10-year JGB yield is up 8 basis points, which is a huge move. A few years ago, the yield in the Japanese 10-year JGB was like 0.1. So, and it would stay there, like really boring. Now it's moving 0.1 in a day. So we're like at 226, a multi-decade high. The 30 years up 11. So this is a symptom again of the breakup of and the collapse of the Volcker Fiat era, and it's also, I'm happy to say, it will be the end of the Keynesian interventionist era, because you have to understand, as I said, Volcker went to the London School of Economics, hotbed of Fabianism. Keynes was a Fabian. Really good news, I think, going forward. Of course, it's not going to feel like that for 99% 0.9% of the people out there. But hopefully for you, you will understand what's going on and be careful trading the collapse of the fiat currency era. So let's quickly look at the markets this morning. It's 7:40 a.m. London time. Yes, it's a public holiday in the US today, but the futures markets continue to trade. We're also going to look at a couple of charts really quickly. So spot gold is made an all-time high, just below 4,700 at 46.91. Silver as well made an all-time high at 94.18. Right now, they're both a little lower, but still up quite a bit. Spot gold is at 46.65, up 1.5% or 68 bucks. Silver is up $3.20 or 3.5% at 93.30. The Dow futures is down 420 points, just under 1%. S&P is down 1% or 69 points. And NASDAQ 100 future, that's down 350 or 1.35%. And I'm going to finish off showing you the disturbing resemblance charts. I think I showed that to the viewers yesterday on the live stream with Clive. I recommend that live stream. I think it went really well. I'm going to put it up here, the recorded version, if you haven't seen it yet. But yes, this disturbing resemblance chart, I've been looking at this for the last few years, and unfortunately it's coming to pass. And what does this mean? Well, it means that the price of gold in fiat dollars is doing exactly the same pattern that the Reichsmark did in the run-up to the Weimar hyperinflation. And that's the other signal that is telling me we are near the end of the Fiat or Volcker regime, if you want to call it that. And you can look at silver as well. Silver, of course, has been money for millennia. And the chart of the price of silver in dollars is going through the roof, which means the dollar is toast. The fiat regime is toast. Not just the dollar, all the other currencies as well. And the reason I'm showing you this chart is that if you look at it, it was Paul Volcker who brought down the Hunt brothers. It was Paul Volcker who made COMEX change the rules, which said that you couldn't buy silver anymore. And yeah, I think this cup and handle and the breakout of it signifies the end of the Volcker era. Yes, there were other guys along the way, like Greenspan, Bernanke, and gals, or a gal like Yellen. But ultimately, it was Volcker who founded this regime. So there you go. With that, I'm going to wish you all a very good day. Take care. Bye.